Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair ragale, ni hao, chunashumme, bashmale, ohaya gonzaimes, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, previous, kaifahal, hala shama chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, and a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World. We are live from the studios of Islamabad, capital of Pakistan. With me, I have Shiza Hashmi, and I am Shazad Khan. Hello, Shiza. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Absolutely perfect.
It's finally Friday. We have finally made it to the end of the week. Are you anticipating your weekend?
Well, I'm not really anticipating, but and the only reason why I'm not anticipating is because it's already planned. So,
Okay.
because, you know, this time what I thought was that, okay, this weekend I'm going to stay back at home, rest myself,
Relax,
and get
right.
my sleep circle or, you know, sleep cycle right in the shape. Because you were just telling me about one of the drivers who actually slept. What happened?
So, since you've mentioned that it is very important to maintain a sleep cycle, as basic as it sounds, it is very important, you know, for your own health, of course, but also for the safety of the people around you. So, in the morning, while I was reaching, office from my home, the service that I was using, the driver was very sleepy. He kept dozing off in the beginning.
Really?
And at one point in time, near Centaurus, he just bumped into a car.
Oh my God.
Like he slept, his hands were off the steering, and he was dozing off, and he, just hit the car. And I was shocked. And that person,
And what were you feeling, right? Okay, what to do?
I was so scared. Fortunately and thankfully, none of us were hurt because I don't know, but thankfully so.
Thank God.
But the police was there and everything, and I sort of just escaped from the situation. You know, I don't want to be a part of this, but it is insane. I mean, you know, it is very important for you, even if you're working, if you're a student, if you work at home, just at least get 6 to 8 hours of sleep.
Exactly.
At least.
But you know, the only thing which I can figure out is that, for example, if you know the driver was sleeping and he didn't even have hands on the steering, what were you feeling like then?
So,
were you
know
freaking
what?
out? Oh my God, what to do now?
I was, you know, in the beginning when he kept dozing off, I kept telling him, "Bhai, aram se chalai, please be careful."
Yeah.
To which he was like, "I got it," you know. And then at one moment in time, it happened. I knew. Actually, I was mentally prepared for it.
Well,
I
you know,
knew. I saw it coming.
Well, I'm sorry to say, but this is a part of our culture as well, that men over here within Pakistan, what they do is, oh, we know it all.
Oh,
so, you know, please don't be a know-it-all, get your sleep, and make sure that, you know, you're healthy, you're fit, because, you know, the only reason when you're out there is because of the fact that you are there to earn for your family.
Exactly.
So please make sure that you stay safe, stay healthy, and stay fit as well. But since we talked about culture, now, today, ladies and gentlemen, we have dedicated our first segment towards talking about cultural harmony. Now, when we talk about cultural harmony, I think the best part is that, you know, culture, you know, music, arts, films, all of these things brings countries together as well. What's your take on cultural harmony?
I really agree with what you said. You know, it's very important for, if two countries want to have strengthen their ties and want to improve people-to-people relations, it's very important for them to share their cultures, like China and Pakistan are doing at a very, you know, frequent level. So,
well, I think you're on to something about China and Pakistan as well. So best of luck for that too as well. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, whenever we talk about culture, we have witnessed, even on this show, that, you know, quite a lot of cultural exchange programs took place in between Iran, America, and there were too many troops traveling to Pakistan, and then people from Pakistan to over there to share how our art is, how our music is, and this is when we come closer. And there are too many similarities in cultures too as well. And this is why we've got somebody from Japan today over here in the studios to talk about cultural harmony. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very thankful to this gentleman because he's traveled all the way from Japan to Pakistan. He's a foreign correspondent for PTV News too, and the PTV in general as well. He's none other than Mr. Humayun Mughal. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
Ohayou gozaimasu. So you speak good Japanese.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. It is wonderful to have you. Let's get the conversation started. So when we say the word cultural harmony, what is that?
You know, cultural harmonies depend on, you know, the cultural came from nature.
Okay.
And nature belonged to the religion. And religion belonged to the spiritualism. So this is very, you know, combination of the 4 categories, what is my understanding, you know. So when you talk about the multicultural to talking about other culture, so there is a background, is a religious background. And as far as Pakistan, I have my Muslim background. But my wife is Japanese, is from the Buddhist background, Shinto's background. So we have to respect each other, trying to understand each other. This is a multicultural understanding, what I learned from my marriage, you know.
Okay, that's great. But, you know, since you said that culture comes from nature, I think I will beg to differ over here. Because culture, for me, is, you know, practices over and over decades and years and millenniums as well.
That represent an identity of
exactly. So let aside nature as well. Let's talk about culture now. Now, for example, whenever we talk about cultural harmony, you know, we say that we use it as a tool to, you know, bring people together as well. how important it is to use arts, films, and theater, you know, probably in other countries where we do have exhibitions, to let them know about our culture.
Actually, this culture is very depend on the country. Japan has a very rich culture, you know, and even Pakistan also has a very rich culture. So this is music, dance, whatever, you know, is belong to our. It's depend on your history. Japan has a 2,600 years history, you know. So Pakistan has a 600 years, maybe 60 years. 70. So it depends how long you have been practicing this your culture. So Japan has, you know, is the Shintoism culture.
Okay.
So they belong to their royal family, you know. They call it this king. So king is belong to 2,600 years. Just continuously he's running step by step, and is going to change. So they are trying to promote their culture through their, you know, Shintoism. Shintoism is actually a religion, but is a spiritualism, and it's very, you know, closer to our Sufism. What I found out. So what I am doing, you know, I'm doing this, you know, cultural music. They have their own music, you know, is a Shintoism music, and we have like a sitar, tabla. We make combination of the music. We do some shows, and trying to understand to each other, and they love to listen our qawwalis. A lot of things. Even Nusrat Fateh Ali saw when he was live. I was his coordinator.
Wow.
He was in Japan, and they was very loving Nusrat Fateh Ali Sahab. So this is, you know, the spiritual thing. So Japanese are, you know, we Muslim people, we call it, we are the religious people. Japanese are spiritual people. So they can understand everything, whatever you, so music is, you know, the voice of spirit. So this is what my understanding.
Now, Mr. Humayun, you are a cultural journalist.
Yeah.
To be honest, this is the first time I'm hearing the term. So for a layman like me, can you explain what the term means? Also, this puts you in a position as an ambassador of Pakistani culture abroad.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
You know, there most of people are like, they get a political journalist, like a religious journalist. So I choose like a cultural journalist. So to introducing my culture.
It's a very diverse term.
Yes. So, you know, the culture journalist, you know, to you because I am living more than 35 years in Japan.
Perfect.
I'm married to the Japanese. My children are Japanese. So culture is depend when you want to see some different culture, just watch their marriage ceremony, what kind of marriage they are doing it. The ceremony is very, you can understand everything. Second thing is when the baby born.
So do they have Mendi, Bharat and Walima like
So that's, you know, that's a different thing, you know. So we are trying to introduce, what I'm doing, I do every 14 August, we have a Pakistan festival there. So we are introducing that Mendi, everything, we do festival.
And are they open to it? Are they enjoying it?
They enjoying. Even the Japanese lady, they're wearing this clothes and making henna and Mendi, everything. So we are introducing them, and they love to understand our culture.
That's great. But you know, as a culture journalist, you just cannot stick to the culture of one country. So you definitely have to move around. So which parts of the world have you traveled, and what have you learned from other cultures?
Actually, you know, I mostly I have been in Europe also. I'm an American also. But I find this the Japanese culture is very spiritual and very beautiful. They have a tea ceremony, ikebana. Even their food is like, you can say, it's a very good culture, very rich in food.
And you know, if you can tell me, because we went to the Japanese ambassador's residence over here in Pakistan too as well, and then there's this art form where they put in stones and sand. What do we call that?
They're sand, yes.
And it's superb and it's fabulous as well. So if Mr. Producer, we can look for that clip as well, please do share it with us.
Actually, in the park, in the like gardening, they use the small stones. When they walk on the stone, there are some special sounds. Effects comes there, charan, charan, charan. So actually this came from their Shinto shrines. When they go for a holy place and to pray, so their priests are walking and everybody is walking with that sound. So this is, they're enjoying the nature. So Shinto is very closer to the nature. So that's why I'm learning from them that to respect other religion, respect other culture.
And we've even got your pictures on the screen as well, so you can even share.
Actually,
so what are you doing?
This is actually, I get the culture award from the Japanese First Lady, Prime Minister Abe. She was coming to our embassy and she's giving me this award. I'm the we have the 5 interfaith or culture journalists or scholars. So I'm one of the first Pakistani who win this.
So what's with this red scarf though? I mean, because it's prominent everywhere.
Actually, mostly, you know, this is symbolic of, you can say the Japanese flag is red and white. And I am Pakistani, but I know I'm representing the Japan, and especially
it's red and white.
Red and white.
Wow, that's
and
cool.
Very generically, even the Antonio wrestler, when he came to Pakistan, he was also wearing this scarf.
Wow, that's cool.
So this is, you know, something like you can feel relaxed and energetic energy. You're standing in the ring and trying to talk about this like a
I hope it's not something where, because Donald Trump even wears red ties over
I hope it's not similar. Now, since Shahzad asked you that you've been to many places, now what was one of the cultural practices or something that has stayed with you till date, and what can Pakistanis learn from that?
You know, that mostly living more than 35 years in Japan, and mostly I'm traveling to the Japanese Shinto shrines many times.
Okay.
And I love their music,
Okay.
There's special kind of...
Very soothing.
Very soothing. They can like, shanai, what is it? Shanai?
Yeah.
Shanai is like a trumpet.
Okay.
Shanai, and their special kind of voice, and very spiritual. When you go there, feel like you are really connected with some universe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I learned it. This is spiritual music. This is like prayer. So what I'm trying to do, I do my azan then there.
Right.
They ask me, please, can you sing a azan?
Wow.
So this is azan is
Read
like
probably.
so when I pray azan, they really feel in the Shinto shrine we should pray azan, very spiritual thing. So this is a combination of when you sing something, it's a holy voice and holy music.
Cultural harmony is good, and I believe in it as well. But talking about, for example, what you just said, that azan in a shrine, so that means that there's higher cultural acceptability in Japanese people as well.
Yes.
Now, if we come down to Pakistan, do you think that the same can actually happen in a mosque, which we don't want, in fact, but in terms of cultural acceptability, where are we as Pakistanis?
Actually, in Pakistan it's very difficult, as you know that. I think that we need it here. What we do every year, more than 10,000 to 20,000 Japanese get together. We get 5 kind of religious, spiritual leaders. We can Shinto, Buddhist, Islam, Christian, Judaism, whatever. We pray together. Okay. And they play their own music, holy music also. So there's people that are enjoying there. So I think that we call it the symphony of peace prayer. Yeah. So we need it in Pakistan also to do their ceremony. 20,000 people comes and praying together. But somehow, we need that capacity to accept other religion, spiritual things. Right. And I think that our Pakistani culture is not ready to accept that other religion and to respect them and to...
no, we do definitely respect them, but we do have certain places for certain things to do.
That's right.
And designated places is the right word as well.
You're right.
But now, since we're talking about cultural values of Pakistan as well, so what kind of cultural values would you highlight when you're in Japan, other than spiritualism, other than the music, other than azan? What other things do you tell them? That
mostly,
this is what happens back in Pakistan.
Actually, mostly you're saying that our Pakistan image is very, very, they said very few.
Not anymore, though.
But I'm trying to make the soft. I'm trying to give them soft image. Like I say, I'm Pakistani. Look at me. I'm the soft image of Pakistan. And they look at me and they listening my speeches. They are listening my songs. And I'm also a musician. Also, I sing.
Okay.
My daughter is singing. We're doing music shows there. They said, yeah, something unique Pakistan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I said, this is the Pakistan. So don't think that everybody is so extremist there. We are the very grateful Pakistani there, and we love Pakistan. I'm promoting my Pakistan soft image.
Very nice.
Now, since we're talking about different countries for a long time now, I want to ask you how cultural harmony is imperative to bringing lost segments of a society together. Like just before the show, we were talking about the FATA-KPK merger and how people from different cultures are coming together. So how cultural harmony can help us do that?
It's very difficult. Actually, how I did it, it's very simple way, easy ways to get married to the foreigner.
Okay.
I married to the Japanese. When you live in the one room, you are sharing their culture.
You start to learn.
You stop learning from there. Otherwise, you cannot, learn. I learned a lot of things from my wife. My family has a big family. I have like a royal family, belong to there. I'm also called a royal Mughal family.
Okay.
So we are trying to get together each other to understand each other. So in Pakistan, I said we need that more broad-minded people to receive this kind of harmony and implement in the people mind. So I think need education. Right. They don't experience. They're still living in Pakistan. They don't know what is happening in the world. Even they don't have television. Even you calling about KPK or tribal area. I have been making some documentaries there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even they don't have radio. They don't have voice. This is.
Well, it's not really like that. Come on, we don't live in stone ages. But
in terms of in tribal area, I'm telling you.
But since you were talking about that, you've got a big family. So on Wednesday we did a show on population as well. So if you need any help, we can do that. But since you're here, so we're going to take advantage of the opportunity, and that is that you're going to sing us a Japanese song, and that'll be super for us.
Whoa, okay.
Let's do it.
Okay, I think this is a very sea on the sea, the fishermen's songs. So when they're going for fishing, so they sing like that.
Okay.
So I'm going to sing it.
Go ahead.
Okay. 波の谷間に命の花が二つ咲いている兄弟船は親父の肩身肩は古いがしけには強い俺と兄貴のよ
Wow, that was superb. What did you sing? Tell us.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
What does it mean?
This is, let's brother, we go to fishing. This ocean is very beautiful. Forget about your girlfriend. Let's fish. It's like a love song, you know.
Amazing that
is.
It's
a very emotional song.
That is amazing. But towards the end, if there's anything you want to share with people out there, they're listening to you, go ahead, share it with them.
Well, just I will share with all people of Pakistan, even around the world, that we are, living, overseas Pakistani.
Yep.
We have the different mind. We are educated in the different culture. We have different minds. So I think people come back to Pakistan and educate the people, give them their own vision, and bring this Pakistan more developed like America, like Japan. So I want to make Pakistan like Japan.
Wow,
this is my message.
But Pakistan is unique in its own way. And of course, there's some things that we can learn from other countries. But I love how unique Pakistan is culturally. I mean, it is so culturally diverse.
I mean, we are unique ourselves. I mean, imagine. We're a unique nation. But thank you very much, Mr. Humayun, for being with us. It was lovely talking to you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll wrap up this segment. But the next segment, I think, is very important. It's very pivotal that you need to stay tuned because of the fact that we're going to talk about the marginalized segment of the society. And we do not really talk about that because of the fact that we say that we are stigmatized and taboos and whatnot. But today, we are going to break those barriers and make sure that you stay tuned as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're going for a short break.
From 1947 to 1948, initially Pakistan used Indian coins and notes with Pakistan stamped on them. In 1948, finally Pakistan issued its first currency note. In 1953, State Bank of Pakistan issued banknotes of rupees 5, 10 and 100. In 1957, rupees 5, rupees 10 and rupees 100 notes were redesigned and reprinted. In 1957, State Bank of Pakistan added rupees 50 note. In 1965, rupees 500 notes were added. In 1967, all the notes were redesigned and reprinted. In 1981, Government of Pakistan once again changed design of Rupee 1 note. In 1986, State Bank of Pakistan reintroduced Rupees 2 note. Rupees 500 note was changed and Rupees 1000 was issued. In 1997, State Bank of Pakistan issued a special note on 50th Independence Day of Pakistan. In 2005, Rupees 20 note were added. In 2006, all the notes were redesigned and reprinted. In 2006, Rupees 5,000 notes were issued. In 2008, Rupees 5, Rupees 20, and Rupees 50 notes were redesigned and reprinted.
Welcome back to World This Morning. We began our show with on a very light note with a very fun and refreshing segment. But now we have moved on to something very sensitive that we want to talk about. And we're glad that we're actually talking about it.
Exactly.
Now, to speak about it, we've been joined by trans-aware physician, Dr. Sana Yasir. And she is here to actually aware all of us about the things that we're going to talk about, intersex and transgender. And she's basically an intersex educator. Welcome to our show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you
Please
so much
start
for
with
having me.
what an intersex educator is.
Yes, so an intersex educator is basically somebody who bridges the gap, the information gap that exists between the physicians and the parents and the client being the so-called patient, the intersex themselves. And I explain this via talks. I offer workshops for this.
Okay.
My usual audience is healthcare providers because we usually resort to healthcare providers when we're in trouble or we're confused about, whatever is happening with our health.
And I'm glad that, somebody's actually taken the initiative to spread awareness about transgender issues.
Absolutely.
But then at the same time, while we are talking about the marginalized community and those people from the segment of the society, I don't think that whatever we are going to talk about is going to reach to them. Yeah. So for all those people, first of all, if you're out there, please make sure that you spread the information too as well. But how are you planning to do that?
See, what I plan to do is I talk to the cisgender. That's not transgender, that's like you and I.
Okay.
The regular people, because, the people I talk about are the invisible population. And transgender is different from intersex.
Okay.
All right. So I don't know if you've heard the term intersex before.
Well, this is the very first time that I'm hearing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are two different people, two different umbrella terms rather. Okay. And they do overlap a bit, but it's important to know the difference.
So what are the differences?
All right.
Because it's a very confusing term. I mean, even I don't think we can understand the difference very clearly either.
That's all right. I'm here to clarify that.
Thank you very much.
That's what I usually do. I clarify myths and misconceptions.
And that's what we do. We make people aware. Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks to you, so many people will know about this now. Okay, so I usually use gender-bred person. That's a slide that I show in my presentations, where there is a person, a figure, and when you see a person, you tell people that, he or she is not just defined by what's between their legs.
Okay.
Okay.
So you have an identity, an outward expression. That's according to who you are, how you perceive yourself.
How you identify yourself, okay.
Yes, how you identify yourself is your identity. Like I'm a woman, you're a man, that's your identity of who you think you are.
I hope you're not confused about me being a man though.
No.
On a lighter note.
Only you can tell that.
Yeah.
All right?
But we do have problems with gender identities then.
The problems are not with those identities. It's about knowing who you are and who you think you are.
Okay.
All right? And what others think or expect you to be. Because what happens is, in case of intersex individuals, like as per definition, intersex is somebody who is having mixed traits of both male and female.
Okay.
Body part-wise, genetics-wise, or even hormone level-wise. Okay. All right? So that's as per definition.
So intersex is a genetic mutation, we can say?
It could be a mutation, all right? It could present at birth, or it could show later. Like many of us don't go to a doctor till there is a problem, right? So many intersex individuals who identify as male and female do end up having some issues later in life, like, after puberty, certain changes come. And that's when it occurs to the parents that, those changes are not happening. What's up with them? So that's when you seek information and seek help from a healthcare provider. So if your healthcare provider is not trans aware or is not intersex aware, how are they going to help?
So then what are the treatments available? Let's talk about them.
See, the thing is, you need to first know that this is a natural bodily variation.
Exactly.
So this is not a disease.
Exactly.
So there is no cure.
Okay.
So you need to accept it.
So then we try to manage it, we try to administer it?
Yes, there are guidelines available.
Okay.
Yes. There are intersex organizations abroad who are doing a lot of good work. they have made proper guidelines. They are trying to have laws implemented so that proper health care is given to whoever needs it and however they need it.
So what are those guidelines? I mean, we need to bring those guidelines out there.
Yes, that's exactly what I do. I offer workshops and I teach those guidelines.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So my project is called Leap for Intersex. It has some goals. Can I mention those?
Of course.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So I want to sensitize all healthcare providers so that they don't discriminate while giving services.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Right. That's okay. And then I want to train midwives and skilled birth attendants. You know, whoever is delivering the baby, if the baby is an intersex child, that's where the stigma can be induced.
Okay.
You know, how they announce the birth of an intersex child.
No, but how do you think that, you know, the doctor or the midwives or whoever is there is actually going to know that the child is an intersex? Because, you know, you just said that they can have feelings or emotions of a male and a female too as
or
well,
they
but
can
the
develop
babies are
later
too
on.
young to
See,
understand.
an intersex person can have any gender identity.
Okay.
Okay.
Regardless
okay,
of the body parts.
Yeah, I get it.
So if a baby is born with ambiguous genitals,
Okay.
where nothing is clear, where the person who's delivering the baby is not clear about how to label him or her a boy or a girl, that's when they can create that taboo and the stigma.
Okay.
If that person is trained on how to counsel the distressed parents, you know, that's what makes the difference. That's what stops them from giving up their baby. You know, most of the time, uneducated people and even educated people, because of certain peer pressure, they end up giving up their children.
You know, it's very sad that we are discussing this, but it's something that we can't hide from.
Yes.
You know, most of the times, I want to actually ask you about the numbers that the families, most of the time, they don't want such a child at the birth. They deny accepting them. So what happens to these kids as they grow up when they're categorically ruled out of a society?
All right, I'll start off with the numbers.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I'm giving a presentation, I usually mention the UN fact sheet.
Okay.
Okay, it has global numbers, and according to that, in you know, 100 children, 2 will be intersex. 1.7% they say. That's as common as a redhead abroad.
And it's natural.
And we cannot, we can't compare redheads over here.
Yeah.
But just to tell you that, you know, in Pakistan there's a population bomb. So I'm sure there's more. And plus we have underreporting.
Okay.
What's surprising is that I've been to many hospitals, when I was working for this. And not all hospitals register an intersex birth.
Okay.
Instead, what they do register is the gender they will send the child home with. So they go as males and females, or rather the parents are told, you know, raise them as a girl, raise them as a boy. But they're not counseled that this child might want to transition later if they can't relate to it. That's when the problem comes up again.
Exactly.
Right? So the problem is not with the child. The problem is with the
with the parents'
labeling,
mentality.
wrong labeling of the child. You know, I would like to say that sex at birth and gender are two different things.
All right. Thank you very much for stating that. But you know, I want you to come back to Leap for Intersex, which is your initiative as well, and you share 2 goals, but they're long list. So go ahead with that.
Yes, yes. So I also want to have this incorporated in the medical curricula, because we do learn them as disorders of sexual differentiation. They're called DSDs. Most of the endocrinologists and other specialists, pediatric surgeons, they're aware of it.
Okay.
But see, my project, with this advocacy, I want to say that these are not disorders. These are not diseases to be cured.
Okay.
Not everything needs fixing. What we need is acceptance.
Okay,
right?
perfect. Makes sense.
So, so these sometimes what happens is that these children are, you know, subjected to surgeries, and most of the time it's the parents who are pushing for those surgeries. And obviously, it depends on how the doctor has conveyed to them what is good for the child. But see, I advocate against it. You can easily delay those surgeries till the child is of age where he or she can decide for themselves.
Of course, yeah, they can choose for themselves, right. So let's talk about transphobia. there are rural and urban segments in the society who are transphobic, let's just say. I personally, fortunately happened to work with such people for my project because I was studying journalism. I wrote about them. I was continuously meeting with them and going to their houses and everything. I found them very heartwarming and open and welcoming. Why does transphobia prevail? And what are you doing to aware the people about?
Anyone is afraid of something they don't know about. The more knowledge you have, the more confident you are about that thing. So what I've started doing is that if I train more people will be aware. You know, it will be a yogurt effect.
Exactly.
Right? And I want to integrate it. How? I want to reach out to the lawyers, the judges, even the parliament, whoever, is making policies.
The lawmakers, basically.
The lawmakers also, all right? So that they know that this is a norm. They should be accepted as a norm. And those intersex individuals, maybe male, maybe female, or they may want to remain intersex, that shouldn't be a problem. That should not stigmatize them.
But I think that we have progressed quite a lot as well because, Nadra is giving them identity cards
Nadra is giving transgenders identity cards, yes.
So now,
that is a step ahead.
So we're in that way, we're in that process, and I think that we're going to come up with something good.
I would really want to say something here.
Sure.
Because I know the recommended format, the WHO and WPATH recommended format. These are international organizations. And what they suggest is that you mention gender separately and you mention sex at birth separately. And human babies are born male, female, and intersex. So those are the three things that should be mentioned where you should be able to tick. Right?
Yeah, because we don't have a box, so obviously we have to choose one,
we do have a box now. Nadra does give a box, but that box is X. All right? That will not give us the stats we need. Right? If a trans woman is ticking it, so is a trans man ticking it.
So how will it help, even if the box is there and we tick it, how will it help?
It will give us an umbrella.
And acceptance.
And it will also give us, it is giving us an acceptance, Now they're running for elections, which is great.
Yes.
So basically this is a small step forward to inclusion of them in the society.
Yes, inclusion of transgenders.
But
what I'm trying to say here is that, we might be surrounded by intersex individuals who we don't even recognize as intersex.
Exactly.
Because we don't want to pathologize it and stigmatize it. But having said that, within the society, we do come across them. Like for instance, if you allow me to give an example, there are certain common conditions. I would share a slide with you on that. And those common intersex conditions are common. They're not rare. We may not know about them. Like for instance, if there is a girl who has Swayer's syndrome, now that's the name of a disease. But it's not a disease, it's a condition.
Condition, right.
Swayer's syndrome. So that girl child will not be born, will not have ovaries. She will have a uterus, but no ovaries. When does the family find that out? Because those body parts are internal.
When she gets married and, she's not able to be pregnant.
Right.
Nobody will say that she's an intersex child. She's not supposed to have babies. We do not find out much before, something's wrong. Internationally, there are certain tests that happen, the government pays for their healthcare services. And so those children are not only identified, their parents are counseled properly. I would love to have that happen here.
Okay, perfect. So, I was just taking a look on Twitter and everything. There's a movement going on, hashtag Stop IMG.
IGM.
IGM, sorry, so sorry, IGM. So, I'm pretty sure you can explain.
So glad you brought this up.
Really? I'm pretty sure you can explain this.
Yes, because I really want to tell that intersex individuals all over the world, they're coming together. And because of social media, they're spreading this word that hashtag Stop Intersex Genital Mutilation, IGM. Stop intersex genital mutilation. That means that, pediatric surgeons and certain doctors who favor surgeries on infants, that should be stopped. Those surgeries are not life-threatening, life-saving. It's not a life-threatening condition that you need to have that surgery. Very, very few cases are there where you need that surgery. So those surgeries can be delayed. This is a human rights violation. Because that child is not giving consent.
Yeah, so what you're trying to convey over here is that, you know, let the child grow and let him or her decide.
Yes.
Since every person has the right to their own body.
Exactly.
Right?
And
exactly, body
the way
autonomy.
they feel. So it's a great initiative. We wish you best of luck.
Thank you so much.
And all the best for your future endeavors too as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for making us all aware about what intersex is and what are the differences in between transgender and what is the need of their time. Thank you very much, Dr. Sana.
Thank you so much.
We're very glad. For all those people who are out there, if you need any more information, please do write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of
Well This Morning.
On Twitter.
Well This Morning -G.
On Dailymotion and YouTube.
Well This Morning.
And the fabulous repeat's going to be at
11:05 in the night.
All right, but before we wrap up, ladies and gentlemen, there's one public service message which I need to give out, and that is that to accept, all we have to do is go, meet, and see them, sit down with them, have a meal, relax, talk to them, and once you get to know them, you know, all the phobia you were talking about, you know, the distance which we have within the community, because they're very amazing people. I've got one of my friends, and her name is Bijli. That's what she wants to call.
Oh, I love her. You know, she's the person I've worked with.
Yeah, she's great, and she's amazing too as well. So it's all about connecting. Please make sure that you do not judge people before even meeting them. Sit down with them, relax, and talk to them, and everything will be fine. So till the next time, 1, 2, 3,
good morning.